In 2002, I made a loud promise in front of 300 activists at the Restore the Earth conference in Fintorn, Scotland, declaring that I would dedicate my life to the restoration of the Earth. In 2006, I physically collapsed in my office whilst trying to juggle the roles and demands of a professional extraction economy and my heart's calling to restore the Earth. It was then that I became fully convinced to dedicate myself to my promise. Meanwhile, I found the love of my life, became a father of 3 golden boys, built my own natural home, and set up a thriving farm operation through an online sales and delivery system. In the past 11 years, I've been working on 4 separate properties with sizes varying from 0.05 hectares to 4 hectares within a radius of 6 kilometers. Each property shows differing soil, climatic, and socioeconomic conditions. I've grown multiple varieties of citrus, olives, figs, grapes, pomegranates, almonds, pears, plums, jujube, quince, medlar, as well as tropical fruits such as avocados, guavas, passion fruits, dragon fruits, and more. In the understory, I've grown many types of seasonal and perennial greens, vegetables, herbs, and grains. The sequence and diversity of these experiences help me learn and draw some fundamental conclusions that fuel the emergence of our functional forests' Nourish Life concept today. Those conclusions highlight the critical importance of successional health on a systemic level, self-sufficiency, diversity, complexity, adaptation, cooperation, circular economy, as well as personal growth and contribution. Nowadays, we call our properties functional forests Nourish Life implementation sites, where we bring a wide variety of skills, plant consortiums, and functions together. These sites vary between an individual design of a retrofitted conventional citrus orchard to a family design of a homestead that we built from ground up and are continuing to develop into a multi-story functional forest. We're also in the process of retrofitting a small garden of a single family home in the town center and developing a community design of an immersion site on degraded agricultural land where we're combining a guild of local industries with 4 hectares of functional forest. By focusing our solutions on complex real-life challenges, we intend to grow the resourcefulness and effectiveness of our work. This is how we envision to be a positive influence on our community and the environment. Hi, my name is Alp. I'm a farmer of functional forests in the southwestern coast of Turkey. It's an honor and a privilege to be talking to you today. I'm grateful to Martin Crawford and to all the people who made this experience possible for me to connect and share my voice with you. I wish all of you a beneficial experience throughout the Agroforestry Symposium and hope to be a part of an unfolding of symbiotic relationships that will serve the greater good. Before I die, I would love to have catalyzed the regional adaptation of many ecologically, economically, and socially integrated functional forests that nourish life on multiple levels. We have a closed-loop operation here that starts with observations in local forest patches, the needs and aims on-site, and the socio-cultural context. From our seed gardens and nursery out to our polyculture orchards, we follow some key principles to guide our work. These principles include production of plant-based nutrient-dense foods and other basic needs such as medicine, fodder, fuels, building materials, fibers, etc. Efficient use of resources through regenerative practices, culturally appropriate decision-making, and economic independence. We establish from bare ground up or retrofit existing orchards into multi-story functional forests, largely by organizing plant consortiums on contour. In between the rows, we plant vegetables and seasonal grains to ensure a rapid generation of growth, resources, and income. Depending on primary necessities and conditions on site, we also plant fast-growing species in between the rows for shading, windbreak, sound break, and supply of organic matter. Come harvest time, we accumulate our produce at our workshop for processing on site. Our products range from fresh, sun-dried and fermented fruits, vegetables and olives, to nuts, grains, oils, and cleaning materials such as vinegars, soaps, and fibers. We also sell plant materials from our nursery, with our supporters, where our supporters can order directly from our online shop or pick up on site. Our products are packed in wooden crates that are made by local craftsmen from locally grown wood. We inspire and get inspired by our supporters to develop perspectives, skills, solutions, and resources for the serial establishment of locally adapted functional forests that nourish life. Functional forests can become extremely rich sources of social, ecological, and economic fulfillment for local and distant communities, while serving the regeneration of degraded landscapes. I envision a world where humanity associates the main source of its basic needs with ecologically, economically, and socially integrated functional forests. Therefore, my goal is to catalyze 10,000 functional forests by 2042. I know that in order to make the right decisions for planting and co-evolving with functional forests, we must take into account the multitude of existing and upcoming challenges. We're up against political unrest, high levels of unemployment, crime, famine, drought, devastating wildfires, migration, pollution, disease, infection, and pandemics, huge social discrepancies, wide-ranging restrictions, and an increasing amount of people suffering from lack of meaning. The farmers in our area increasingly rely on monoculture farming and forestry work, or small-scale animal husbandry in confined lots. The recent surge of migration from big cities has impacted land prices dramatically, giving local farmers a huge incentive to sell their land. This is having devastating effects on the local economy, the culture, as well as traditional land use practices and the environment. Cultural barriers make the establishment and enhancement of trust relationships difficult. Gender-based pre-assigned roles and responsibilities also make creative problem-solving and group work challenging. Bringing new habits to an old village, as the Turkish saying goes, makes the adaptation of new perspectives and applications painful, to say the least. Low socioeconomic profile of the farming community, coupled with extremely high energy, raw materials, and food prices, and an unpredictable government, further multiply the complexity of the challenges at hand. Finally, extreme weather conditions with summer air temperatures reaching 50 degrees centigrade and soil temperatures reaching 60 to 65 degrees centigrade, along with lack of precipitation for up to 7 months, an increasing amount of floods during the rainy season are major indicators of a highly fragile environment. I have no doubt that we must find new ways of being and doing on this planet, ways that help produce conditions conducive to all life. While some of these ways will need to be designed from scratch, others will need to be retrofitted. The key, in my view, is for these ways to be need-based, purpose-driven, and results-oriented. Functional forest nourished life concept is a holistic approach to regenerative small to large-scale agroforestry practice based on a culmination of indigenous and syntropic farming methods. We aim at creating collaborative abundance by increasing diversity and complexity to improve health conditions for plants, animals, people, and the ecosystem. We therefore strive to discover the ecophysiological functions of plants, from their resistance to pruning, stratum and architecture in the canopy, flowering and fruiting season, root system and growth speed, to their utilities for animals and humans. Based on this information and the life cycle of each species, we try to come up with a design that we then plant out from seed cuttings or saplings. Once planted out, management of resources and plants, adaptation of processes on site, and adjustment of equipment to fulfill necessary functions is critical for successful outcomes. I would like to honor my local friends and elders, as well as Ernst Götz here, and thank them for being a tremendous inspiration for our work. Functional forests produce physical functions in form of foods, fodder, fuels, medicine, timber, fibers, dyes, glues, plants for basket weaving, bee plants, and more. And emotional functions in form of health, joy, peace, harmony through communion with nature, a sense of belonging, relationship, participation, personal growth, and contribution. In the past 3 years, we've grown into an interdisciplinary team of 12 local people with rural and urban backgrounds, combining traditional and scientific knowledge to design, implement, manage, monitor, and disseminate functional forests. We also cooperate with many local players and craftsmen to find solutions to our challenges at hand. This is a strong testament to the healthy evolution of our work, bringing symbiotic relationships together, and a metaphor for the further formation of social layers in our functional forests Nourish Life community. In our team, we focus on 4 implementation sites to develop a site and need-specific design, implementation, maintenance, and monitoring system. Using our key principles, we plant, maintain, and seek ways to evolve with functional forests that nourish life. Our Gojakamera implementation site is a 2.5 hectare property with clay soil amidst a conventional citrus farming valley, where I focus on the conversion of a conventional tangerine and grapefruit orchard into a multi-story functional forest by introducing many native and non-native species. This is where I introduced Turkish sweet gum, mulberry varieties, persimmons, jujube, quince, plums, pears, pomegranates, and sugarcane, among others. Ulmus minor, the field elm, also started emerging here in great numbers after 5 years of no-till agroforestry practices. This is a keystone species with many traditional uses, including timber, fodder, and fuel, that has almost been completely wiped out from the region. Our Chalji implementation site is a 4 hectare property with acidic soil where my wife and I focused on building our homestead, kitchen and seed gardens, greenhouse and nursery. Here we're focusing on retrofitting a conventional citrus and olive orchard into a multi-story functional forest. This is where we already introduced many native and non-native species in layers ranging from sandalwood, strawberry tree, poplar, almonds, avocados, wild pear, figs, pomegranates, to pigeon peas, ashwagandha, artichokes, oregano, and sweet potatoes. Our Menekşe implementation site is a 0.05 hectare property with alluvial soil and a high water table, where I focused on converting a single-family home garden into a multi-story functional forest. I've introduced many native and non-native species here to fulfill multiple needs and functions. Finally, our Zeytinyalı implementation site is a 4 hectare property with acidic and rocky soil, where we, as a team, focus on converting an overgrazed and arid landscape with hardly any organic matter in the soil into a multi-story functional forest. Aside of having already planted 6,500 trees and further planning on planting another 10,000 until the end of March, we're also in the process of developing an on-site guild where various crafts and functions will evolve organically as an integral part of a community forest. This site has also become an ecosystem restoration camp in December 2020, where we aim to share our on-site experiences and develop capacities for research, collaborative learning, and complex problem solving with the support of an international network of skilled people. Similarly, connecting with you today also gives me great joy for making new friends and allies to move our mutual work forward. Our sites are also where we're raising and educating our children, contributing to their overall health and touching lives in beneficial ways. Clearly, we cannot do the work required on our own. We need each other. This is why I want to extend my invitation to you to join us in a quarterly mastermind call where we'll focus on a co-creative learning by doing experience. This is where we can address our most pressing issues and have targeted discussions on the practical and theoretical aspects of designing, establishing, managing, monitoring, and integrating agroforestry systems in the Mediterranean region. If you're interested, please send me an email along with your particular area of focus. I look very much forward to continuing this dialogue and wish all of you great success in your meaningful endeavors. I wish you and your loved ones good health and all the best.